Well, you hit it there. We hear about serial entrepreneurs, we hear about, the big legends in the space, but most owners are first-time sellers, and that's the only time they'll sell, right? That's really that's I don't. There's probably a stat somewhere that bears that out, but it's just true because most companies don't even sell, and so those that do sell, most of those are going to be owners who sell one time, and then you got a 5-year non-compete, and so you got to do something different, and so building the business to understand what you want to exit for and then what you're going to do post exit is really important because you are in your space at least if you're a plumber you're on the sideline for like 5 years so you got to go start something different thinking through all that and the risk of the taxes and then I think risk is something that in this space it's hard to explain to owners because their confidence is they've done it for so long most of the times that they can get through it. But 2020s happen, things like that happen, and you don't want to do like scare tactics, but you also got to kind of, well, these things do happen. AI is happening right now. We don't know what's going to flesh out with that, and so it's really hard to understand, or for them to understand how to think about the risk. So how do you have that conversation with them about thinking about the risk of holding versus selling? And you mentioned, with taxes, a new president comes in, new Congress, different taxes, all that stuff can change really fast.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest conversations is showing them the buyer risk in the deal because they think their business is the best. It's their beautiful baby. I totally get it. I started and ran my own company for 7 years. I understand the blood, sweat, and tears ownership, but these guys have run it for 30 years and they're looking to retire and they want their life's work cashed out. And that's why it's emotional for us as brokers because we want to take good care of them. But explaining the buyer risk to them is difficult. They don't understand the debt and equity side of the acquisition. They don't understand PG and SBA loan. They don't care, even if you explain to them. It's not their problem, right? But I have to gently point out it kind of is your problem because it plays into the economics of how the deal is structured. And now it goes into the multiples and the risk. And, they don't want to lose their house. Like it has happened where people buy businesses, move their families, they go bankrupt and they have to give the keys to the bank. And it sucks. And so it's an American dream to buy a business and run one and start one from scratch. And it's incredible what America offers as far as that stuff. But buyers have to tread carefully. We saw an uptick in default rates post-COVID. Banks are tightening things up. SBA is changing their rules for a reason. And I think it's kind of healthy to do that. It makes deals harder, but it protects the buyer. And so for the seller, we have to explain, look, based on your financials and your business, your category, your sustainability, your growth, here's where we think offers are going to come in. Here's how much cash we think you would get at closing. Here's why the buyer is structuring it this way. I've invested on the buy side in a couple of deals in acquisitions, so I know how the economics play. I know what offers look like. I've been doing this for 8 or 9 years, seen plenty of offers and deals break and scars to show for it. So here's my long tenured thoughts on it with high confidence. If it doesn't make sense for you, totally get it. If you want to get to 10 million or whatever your number is, here's my 2 or 3 points of advice to get there, where your numbers need to be to sell at that price. And now you have the data, so you can decide if you want to go sell and do something else or keep growing it.
Yeah, and let's put some kind of meat on that bone because I got a client right now who's going to market or considering going to market, and he has a customer concentration issue, and it's going to impact the valuation severely. But to fix that issue, the M&A advisors gave him, probably a year and a half or 2 years after you fix the issue, right? So you got to fix the issue, which might
Yeah.
take a year and a half or 2 years, and then you got to go another year and a half or 2 years. Now, if he does that and he's successful, all of a sudden the multiples get really good. The valuation goes, it's already a good company. I mean, he makes really good, but it's gonna be tremendous. And so the question that we're contemplating now, we're supposed to meet next week, is it worth it for him to do that? Is it really what he wants to do? Because now he kind of understands this is probably a 3, 4, maybe 5-year process
Mhm.
to figure that out. And so it's M&A is a high stakes, high risk game, and the buyer is taking a lot of high stakes and high risk by buying your company. And so the safer you make it for them, they're going to pay you more and be more likely to come and give you the right valuation.